it's Adam from RC Action Australia. How's everybody out there today? So, today's video, guys, it's going to be a continuation of my Tamiya MF01X build. So if you haven't checked out the first video, guys, hit that link above. It basically just showed you the chassis, how the chassis went together, some of the goodies that were actually inside of the chassis when I pulled it apart, and obviously getting it to the stage with some electrics. So, I was waiting for some parts. Pretty much I was just waiting for these shock absorbers, guys. So they are just a generic CVA mini shock set, item 54753. Pick them up. You can get them on eBay pretty cheap. I think somewhere in the 30 something dollars Australian delivered to the door. Because if you haven't checked out that other video, guys, the version of this car that I got just had the friction shocks and the normal 540 motor, and obviously there were variants with the torque tune and oil dampers supplied. So today's video, we're going to get the shocks on this car, hopefully get out and do a quick little run and finish installing some radio gear in it, do a quick little run of just the chassis, and then we'll talk about what I'm sort of thinking to do with the body, and just to see what you guys think. If you haven't already noticed too, we've got a Kyosho Javelin that's just entered the RC Action collection. So that one arrived today. Beautiful kit, but I'll leave that to another date. And obviously we've got our Mercedes-Benz G500. I've done an unboxing video of that, so check the link above, guys. Check that one out. Other than that, I've got parts galore down beside me here. I've got a lot of projects, guys, and as you can see here, I've got the Thunder Dragon. I have done a little restoration of this one off camera, so I'm going to do a video on that and just show you what I've done. As I said, guys, if you want to see some more pictures of some of the stuff that I do off YouTube, check out my Instagram page. That's RC Action Australia. You can get on there and check out some different content that I don't put on the YouTube. So let's crack on with today's video, getting the shocks built and installed on the MF01X. So let's lift the body off this, guys. So I've pre-drilled the body posts here and just sat the body on the car and cut it out, obviously. As I said, from our previous video, guys, as you can see, we've got the electrics in. We rebuilt the chassis, and I just put the factory sort of 540 motor, but as you can see, we're missing the suspension. So we'll just pop the car aside for a second. That's our oil damper units that we're using in today's video. So I'll go on, get those out of the packet, get everything separated, and we'll crack on with building them. Okay, guys, so once you get everything separated into individual shock absorbers, cut out, I like to use a sharp hobby knife to do it. Some people can buy special little snips. They're very easy to put together. Tamiya obviously always do quite good instructions. So very easy to put together, and they obviously also give you instructions on how to mount onto particular cars. So I'll build one of them for you guys. They go together very simply. So all we've got to do is get our body, shock body. We insert two O-ring rubbers into there. I always like to put a little drop of oil just into those. Then we pop our bottom piston cover on. So we screw that on nice and tight. So there you go, you've got the bottom on, you've got the cylinder. Then you obviously have the shaft here, As you can see, we've got two little divots on here for our C-clips, and then you obviously put the particular piston on the shock that you want. So this bit can be a little fiddly, so you just line your C-clip onto exactly where you want it, and it's just a matter of getting some small little pliers here, guys. Oops, see, not the easiest things to install, and once you get it on there, just make sure it's seated properly, which it is. Slide your piston that you want to use on there. So I'm going to use the 3 holes. You know, there's a single, there's a double, and then there's the triple one. I don't know if you can, you know, always tell a huge difference between them. Just obviously seat your top C-clip on there. So you've got your piston, and it's held into position either side. So you pick up your cylinder, obviously pass that through. So obviously we've got the shaft through the cylinder there, and so obviously we'll put our damper oil in. So fill that up. Then what we do is we plunge that up and down just to clear any air that may be in there. And you may need to just top that up a little bit, just so it's sort of level with the top. And then we get our seal. Oops. Pop the seal on there. Then we get the top of the shock here and screw that on. Now you do get a little bit of an oil spill here, but that's good. That just means that the shock is full. So obviously you should be able to see, obviously the shock has some rebound to it without having a spring on. Now on this car, I'm not 100% sure which end I'll use. I do want to use this a little bit more off-road, so I'm probably going to put the longer bottom eyelet on, and that just screws onto the bottom of the shock like so, pretty easily there like that, as you can see. Then we'll get our spring. So this comes with springs, so I'll just pop that on there, and then we've obviously got our retainer for the spring. Now as you can see, this here, there's quite a large gap. Now, you know, when it goes onto the car it may compress down, but there's also some spacers included in the kit for that spacer there. Or I can use the original springs that came with the car, which will be a lot longer, and I'll probably most likely do that. So I'll build all 4 off camera, then I'll show you popping them on the car. Okay guys, so we've built all 4 shocks. I've put the front shocks onto the car. They're quite nice. Now I did use the original springs over the small springs that were included in the damper kit. I just found that the shocks were far too short. I did however find that the original longer arms that I was going to use, they were too long, so I went with the shorter set. So we'll go ahead and get the shocks onto the car, and we'll take it for a quick little blast around, and we'll see how it drives. So as you can see guys, the MF01X Suzuki Jimny chassis there, it's quite punchy, even with this factory 540. I'm just running that on a 25C 2S LiPo, and it seems to be quite a good match for the car. So after that quick little test run, guys, I found that there was a lot of play in the steering, and I've linked it back to the Tamiya servo saver. You know, a little bit of torque and whatnot. It was very, very mobile, and it was causing issues with the servo and centering, and it was recentering, flying off everywhere. So what I've done, I've just put a bit of glue. That's a bit of a simple, well-known tip for the Tamiya servo savers, just to super glue them up, and that way you won't have any of that slop in the steering, and that works on a lot of cars, guys. Luckily for this car, it does have this access point in the bottom of the chassis, so it's quite easy to get the steering horn in and out, and make those little adjustments. Okay guys, so that's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed the MF01X build and that quick little first run. So I'm going to leave it there for this car at the moment. As you can see, I still haven't painted the car, and I'm actually contemplating doing sort of like a Rothmans or a Martini sort of racing sort of style livery on it, with some dual colour tones and possibly obviously some rally inspired decals. So that's the plan for the body, guys. So until I really work that out and get some decals in the shop here, we'll leave that car with that. As you can see, it went quite well just with the standard 540, and we've just got some basic Tamiya electrics in that I had left over from a car that I parted out, the fine spec radio gear. So as always guys, hit like, hit subscribe, check out my other videos, guys. The next car we're going to work on will be the Mercedes G500 CC02. I've got all of my parts in, like the rock block bigger tyres now, so I can carry on with that project. And then obviously we'll throw in a unboxing of the Javelin kit as well, that arrived the other day. And I'm also going to go through and probably do a few videos in between, some build videos of just of my Thunder Dragon restoration, and probably do a whole video of my Tamiya collection so far. So you would have noticed that in the background and to the side of some of my videos lately, I have sort of rotated some of the cars that I have. So we'll be featuring some of those on the channels. So thank you very much for watching, guys. As always, hit like, hit subscribe, and check out the next video.